Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I was just about to get some sleep, and I realized I didn't address everybody in regards to my final therapy session before I just go to the court tomorrow. And the funny thing about it was, it's not that I forgot to do a therapy session. It's just that I'm really tired. I did the Laker video, had a great night, and I just wanted to get some rest. But as I was getting my prayer going, I just felt, as I was praying to say my, good night, Lord prayers, and that's it. Right before you go to sleep, I felt compelled to grab my phone, and it was just like, wasn't that feeling wouldn't shake. Just grab the phone and say something to the people. So I'd imagine the Lord had something in my heart He wants me to say, but I really had nothing in mind. I'm in good spirits right now. My team came through. You know what I mean? We're doing big things, and since I'm so dedicated to that, um, that was really a good nightcap. But also, because of the day that I've had, I just turned it into something. When you're having a tough day like I was having this morning, the best thing you want to do is be constructive, and or rather productive is the word. And I was, even though I crammed all these different things into the last minute, I was able to do so much of it. And so I was able to, I guess the last thing you guys heard was that I was trying to get a hold of some people to get some contacts with the mental health folks, I guess you could say, so I can start the process of my journey. And I was able to do that. Got an appointment with a clinic not too far from here, and it'll be on Monday. Same time the court thing will be tomorrow. So I got things to do, man. Things to do. And I'm super encouraged that this is a journey, regardless of what happens with my living situation. My mental health situation will be addressed for the first time, and I can genuinely look at it the right way, and look at myself the right way, and start to get answers and seek out answers. And that's a big deal for my life, regardless of where I'm headed. I just like to know what the heck I've been dealing with all this time. And from there see what happens. So I'm very thankful that I have these outlets. And on a day like today, when it was really tough, I'm very thankful that I had my faith and the friendships that I had. And I've spoken to a lot of different human beings in regards to my business today, and a lot of them gave me just good energy and answered questions in a good professional way that contributed to my day being that much easier. And so those things deserve conversation, just like we complain about those things. When people are solid, they deserve their credit, at least to acknowledge that they didn't make your day worse. So I can say that I had that be the case. I thought I absorbed bad news well today too, with the Chase situation. And I just reminded myself once again how much money really doesn't move me. They told me I couldn't get certain money. It's like, damn, I need the money, but I don't know, man. You've heard the spiel. I love money for what it can do for others and for what it can do for dreams, but as it pertains to just stacking a pile of green paper in front of me, thanks. I almost have a weird way of looking at it. But whatever the case may be, it is what it is, man. The situation didn't work out in my favor, and I shrugged it off because I got other things going on, and I'm handling those just as intent, And look, at the end of the day, I didn't do everything I was supposed to do, but there are some things that I've been praying about that I hope will work out in my favor just the same, and I think it could. I really think it could, and it's just a matter of what the Lord wants to do with my life. The bottom line is what makes me most comfortable is no longer any good for me in my eyes. Never was, as far as me staying in this house being isolated, but now I see it in a way that I'm sure everyone else has always seen it. So putting an end to it is something I'd like to do. Not in the way that it seems like it's about to happen, but by way of the choice that I make to just get the help that I can use. That's a good way of putting it, right? Help I need to put me in a position to live more comfortably, freely, and build whatever way the Lord will allow. So I don't know what type of assistance or rental housing, whatever, would be there for the worst case scenario stuff. So that still leaves me uncertain. But the angst isn't there, right now. The vibes that I had this morning that made me feel so scared, nah, not as I lay here now, which I guess is a byproduct of me accomplishing certain things that would ease my own mind, things that would otherwise be too stressful to even approach. Now I was able to handle them and not only take care of those things, but also feel accomplished in handling those things. So it's all a drop in the bucket in terms of getting, being a friend to my future, as I've been saying. Prayers that I've been praying to welcome happiness into my life has to start with me choosing happiness. And if I have problems with my chooser, so to speak, the brain itself making choices, then of course that mental health needs to be addressed in order for me to find the happiness that I need. So I think it's just time. I think it's a time and a place for everything in terms of my life. Can't speak for nobody else's, but excuse me. It's a time and a place for everything. And I was asking myself, why didn't I get mental health help earlier? Why did it take this long for this? Why did it take this long for that? And the only thing that came up to me in regards to that was it wasn't time. It wasn't time. It was other things going on that had to manifest in order for me to be in a position to want this. I had to create the BDF channel. I had to create all the art and all that stuff so that I would look at myself as someone who should want to preserve self. To perceive self as something other than something hiding from something. Someone who needed to, consider his hiding above all else. And then opening up the understanding of why that didn't need to be the case, and starting to see myself differently and heal from certain things and cry for the first time in so many years. And all that different stuff just brought me to a place where I'm ready to help myself. And so why was all that relevant to say? Because I think that helps me, if nothing else, understand how others may process theirs too. Maybe that's a formula that can be used out there, where people just need to undo different layers of themselves until they understand what is actually wrong with them that everyone else seems to be able to see. And maybe it gets a little frustrating for their loved ones, but they just got to see it for themselves. And sometimes it just takes seeing certain things happen and not reacting well to it in a series of events till you just get it after a while. It's just like, now I see it. It took getting hit this way and that away and punched that away and kicked that away to like, oh, okay, yeah, that time I got it. That's kind of how it is for some people, I suppose. And I think that's what it was for me in regards to this. To be cognizant that I'm ill, but not necessarily seeing the need to get help, made me feel like I was under control. But it was like, okay, I am under control, so I don't need to get help, but there are certain things I'd like to change and I can't seem to change them. So can I say I'm under control, or am I confused about that? And then just live in that confusion and let it get too far into a space where I'm letting that control my actions and comfort, and allowing AMC to be the grand reason for it all. And it's like, I definitely agree that AMC was just as important. It's always going to be important to me, but that's not why things went left. Things went left because I depraved myself of help. Didn't see anything within all of that as urgent enough to get help. But the thing about it is, the Lord blessed me with some cognizance of my own behavior, because I was always alarmed enough to at least say, yo, let me wonder what's wrong. Let me struggle with this. Let me not just go along with this to begin with, whatever it may be. It's always a struggle because I just have an inner peace inside of me that allows me to understand something's awry even within my own behavior. So I never actually be at peace with it, so to speak. Otherwise, I'm just running around here doing whatever it is. But that consciousness allows me to not be at peace with the wildness of the mind. And so with that comes a real serious war inside of the anxiety that is just one phase of it, I guess you can call it a one part of it. And so as I had a conversation with a good friend of mine today, she asked me, what is it that you have? Is it anxiety? And I honestly told her, I was like, I know I have a severe anxiety something. That much I could tell by the symptoms that I read in a little brochure thingy. That wasn't hard to tell. But I think that I probably qualify for other things too, because I didn't sum up everything that I deal with. Like, there was a lot of bubbles missing from the little pamphlet that I definitely would otherwise check off if it said that. And so for me, it's just like, all right, I got a lot of stuff I got to deal with, man. Series of events that have caused me series of traumas and series of mistakes that would otherwise cause me series of traumas. And you just got to understand yourself better. And sometimes it takes someone who studies a bunch of brains all the time and went to school for that to kind of help you understand what it is that you don't see within yourself while you're too busy looking at the details of whatever it is you're either dealing with or trying to hide from or what have you, that you can't really see what it is that they would otherwise see. And so after watching so many people have so many breakthroughs with therapy, and just the same, seeing so many people fail, never getting help, I always wondered if I needed it. It wasn't as simple as looking at all of my behavior and saying I'm out of control, because I'm still behind the wheel with myself. So I can never identify myself up until a certain point, when in my 30s, as somebody who was in need of help. Because it's like, well, even though I'm struggling, I'm still me, so I just walk around me. And I think that's what a lot of people who are ill do, which is why it's hard for them to accept the fact that they're ill, because they're behind their own wheel, so to speak. They're like, yeah, I might have some trouble behind the wheel, but it's still me controlling it. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, but look at how much you aren't able to accomplish. Look how many things go left because you're controlling. It's like, wouldn't you like to see yourself control things to go right? And it's like, well, yeah, I'm just going to use my determination. It's like, yeah, but your determination is pointed in the wrong direction. If you're going to use your determination, you should get your determination in a position so you can fix your situation, fix your wheels, so to speak, so you can get back on the road and drive correctly. I mean, you're riding down the street with a flat tire and that kind of thing. And so a person has to understand that when they're mentally ill, to just understand that it's not necessarily you being out of control because you can't control the wheel. It's just the tire's flat, bro. And so I start to understand my own mental health from that analogy. It's like, all right, I trust me, so let me take all this control I have and take myself down to this place and get some help, instead of trying to manage myself and with all the self-awareness in the world, do all the different things that help coddle my mental health while being unhappy with the results. It's like that's not a formula that for me anymore. I think that's the difference between Brandon this week and Brandon any other time before this week. It's like, it took this to help me realize that formula, I don't fare well with the end result of how that plan plays out. So let me not start a new plan that way. And plus, when I started the plan I was on, I didn't have all these different things that I appreciate about myself and the different things that I've learned to have done and all this and that. So it's like, nah, I got new things to contribute, and new things to protect, I guess you can say. And I ain't in the same space when I started this journey. So let me try to protect and devise a new plan that has more urgency attached to protecting myself. That's also part of it too. Let me go get some help so that I don't ruin this person's life, because I ain't never cared about this person's life before. He didn't have nothing I wanted to lose, or didn't want to lose rather. That was who I was. So it's like, that was also part of it, the urgency to preserve life. Attached to what? There was no love. There was not a close enough relationship with God to help understand where the goodness in my life would come from. So I struggle with certain things that I just simply don't have to struggle with no more now that truth is attached to my consciousness. And so that's a big part of it. When you start praying, you start getting answers, and those answers help you love yourself. So then you start looking for things like help instead of allowing yourself to coerce yourself into that space of peace. See, that's what it is. It's like an evil trance, so to speak, because you don't have God with you at all. So you're going to stay in that place of comfort even if it don't make no sense. You'll tell yourself that you can deal with the end result because you ain't living with it yet. That's the evil that I was rocked into. It's like, yeah, I could just sit here and protect myself from all other things, and whatever else happens outside of that it just happens. That's the sickness talking. It allows me to protect myself from anything, good or bad. That's why it's evil, because it keeps the good out too. And your defensive mechanisms, and then it's like when the Lord, my God, teaches me a lesson, because the one person that I want so close to me, that person treat me the same way I treat everybody else. And all I can do is sit there and take it. See what I'm saying? So that helped me understand that I need to get help too, because it's like I can't keep doing this, because I see how bad it is for the karma aspect of things too. And now it's like I'm in control of that. So next time I don't get help for anything from here on out, I'm going to continue to get beat on by him as if I did it on purpose because I had a chance to get some help. So that's also an initiator of getting some help. It's like an understanding, like, yo, yeah, you doing this sick doesn't help others, and I'm not happy about you neglecting it because you're allowing yourself to be a deterrent to other people's happiness with your sickness. And see, that's the example I don't want to be. When I walk around saying, let's take care of your mental health, then it's like, well, if I'm gonna let mine go by the wayside, what kind of example am I being to the people I talk to? How can I show them what it is that I'm saying is a real thing? And so it's like, yeah, that's another initiator of getting help. So there, you are people who are watching me being that motivational factor for helping me see the fruit and being better. All these different things help a person want help. And if those things are lacking, then they may need help, but why the hell do they want it? So these are the things that they need to either try to develop themselves, or the village around them needs to help them identify before they actually get to the help part. It's help molding these parts while they still sick and in the darkness. You got to finally get this going so that they can find their way to the place where they're like, I like help now, because help kind of works for the person I want to be. It's not a deterrent to me enjoying my time in the dark, so to speak, but it's now me finding a way out of this darkness because it no longer serves me. Or because I don't like being ripped up out of this thing. It's kind of traumatic. And I can prevent it. That type of thing, man. And so, as I go through my trials, this is what it's for. I take every bit of this and leave it right here. Because when you deal with it, it's like, oh my God, I'm going through everything, right? I'm going through the worst stuff in the world. I'm the center of the universe, and the problems is the core. But when you realize that that's not the truth, and everybody's going through something, you could take what you're going through, zoom out in regards to your own perspective, and realize you're alive to contribute to something bigger than yourself, if you believe in sort of thing. And if you do, then you can see how it works. The math works. Because now you can take your pain and help somebody else with it, by way of now you're being able to relate to them. Or if you're spiritual like that, being able to support them and pray for them and be a shoulder for them, or what have you. Be somebody you can confess to, or what have you, because you've been there. No matter how dark it is, no matter how ridiculous it is, you actually can relate. And so it's like, that's what these problems are for. That's what they're for. It's got to try to make some sense of it, try to find some purpose in your life, and try to overcome the moments where that voice in your head that's negative is louder than the positive, when the sadness is stronger than your love. Sometimes it gets to a point where that could be the case, and you might walk into darkness again, and then you will be reminded why you never should. And that's the part that gets hard for people who are suffering and find coping in bad ways. It's like, you don't want to go back to your vice. But you gotta love yourself enough around those moments to where when you get to that space where you have face to face with that vice, you say, no, I have a bunch of reasons why this isn't gonna work for me, even though I will enjoy it very much. And those are things that I think self-discipline can help you with, and prayer and meditation and keeping a good, set of friends and all those different things. Those positive energies help you with that. And so these are things that I'm learning as I go through what I go through in my life. I'm struggling with all that I put myself through. And I'm very, convincing to myself, just like I'm sure I'm convincing everyone else, because everything that I can make sense of things is layered, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, one or two of those reasons has to do with me trying to protect myself mentally. And I don't know if there's anything wrong with that, except for the fact that when you realize those things do harm, then it's like, all right, let's get some help. And so I think I did that when I identified it. I think I did it when I absolutely allowed myself to. And maybe that brings about bad results this go round. But I think because I'm so late in my thinking, in my doing, maybe I can leave this here with you and maybe with someone else as I go along my way. Like, yo, this is where I went wrong, and because of it, this is how it panned out. And so I was rating for this, and it didn't. But look, I could have did that. And maybe with their little set of circumstances, they'll see it and say, yo, yeah, I'm going to turn it around and do something different with my situation as well. Like, spare them of some type of pain, whatever it will be, whatever their version of this would be. You know what I mean? So I think that holds weight, man. I think a lot of people don't care nothing about that kind of stuff. They just want to get there, say, cool, man, it's all good, whatever. They don't think like this. But then one day they need a break. They need somebody to just, be there the right way in the right time, and that person just keeps on speeding by or whatever, And it starts because someone didn't decide to give a damn. And why didn't they give a damn? Because the person next to him didn't apply any of this, what we've been talking about, to them. And so, when we understand these type of things from person to person, we just gotta care enough within your own space to drop that little bit in the bucket for somebody else so that we can have a better overall environment. And these are things that I always talk about in some variation of form, but I think it's the very essence of turning away from bad habits and wars and all these other stuff that we often engage in. And it starts with just common courtesy and letting things go. Certain things that you can't change about yourself, certain things you can't change about others, certain things that are just never going to give you an advantage or whatever it may be. You just got to sometimes just see the fuller picture and try to get a win where you can. I don't assume to understand, but I think where peace is found in the overall, I guess, for the betterment of the overall morality, your team or whatever it is you're doing, maybe sometimes it's just best to let certain things go or choose your battles or what have you. Whatever this may apply, I guess you can say. But at this point, I hope I made the Lord happy. I turned back on this camera. I said what I need to say, I think. I was able to speak, like I said, to my friend today and kind of absorb some good energy there, some encouragement. Prayed a lot today and found a lot of peace in all of that. Watched the game. They played well. Prayed before the game. Got a lot of energy from that. Comfort would be the word that I got from that. And I'm really not sure if this is sustainable. If I wake up in the morning and have anxiety again, that's probably more likely. But right now, I just so very comforted in the Lord, and I never thought that my night would be like this on the second. When I knew that this would be the third coming up, I figured the second would be more of what it was this morning, but I just have these outlets now. These things work. So I'm thankful for that. And it's hot under here. That's the truth. And man, we made it to what, 302? As far as entries on this therapy session thing, I never thought it would get this far, man. But it just seems kind of interesting how the numerology works. Near 300, I'm finding a breakthrough, you know. I don't know what the significance is to that, but it could have been 299, it could have been 307, you know what I'm saying? But finally getting help at 300, and so that's just how God has it going. And it's just one more drop in the bucket in terms of evidence that He's real in my life. And I just wish I could make more sense of my own behavior and not be struggling with it so much, I guess the way I want to put it, if not be so at odds with my own behavior, in my own comfort zone. And just to think, as I've said once before, if I was born rich, this wouldn't even be nothing I would address, which is something that makes me think if that is a byproduct of me not having a doctor, and therefore they would just tell me the stuff anyway since I was rich. You know what I mean? Like, certain things rich people have that just don't enable you to ever be in a space like this. Well, poor people don't know what's wrong with them. Rich people are going to know what's wrong with them. So they're never going to live their lives not knowing what's wrong with their own heads. The doctor's going to tell them. They don't have no doctor here. It's not that I didn't have access to a doctor. It's just, you know, healthcare costs something sometimes in this state. And then other times they give it to you for free. So it's like, depending on what year it is, you may have to pay more than you have to get the same healthcare that may be free another year. So it's like, this year's free, so you can get some help now while it's still free. And it's life in California, man. But we get the sunshine. That's the one thing that I think about as this situation approaches. It's like, all right, if I got to leave out of the state, this would be the first time I'd ever lived out of state. Do I embrace that type of thing without resistance? Am I happy with that? And I think the way that I feel right now is like, absolutely not. But I'm very newly married to the idea of being open to breaking out of the comfort zone I've created. So why would any of my opinions be updated, you know? Maybe I want to live out of state after I realize I don't want to be in this room anymore. When this room is no longer an option, maybe I do want to get the hell out of here. Like, I don't know. I really don't know. But I know without having really any dough to my name and debt to my name, I don't think I should be going anywhere. And that kind of weird thing, but it's harder to save money here just the same, you know? So these are things that I have to think about. As these days approach, I need to like get excited about getting the hell out of LA if it's the only option I have, you know what I mean? So why not think about those things right now? I think for me, it's like, never even thought about it. Never thought about it, man. But if I don't get some help from my head, it don't matter where I'm at in this world, I'm just going to find an apartment to sit in. Like, literally. And hopefully use the type of productive tools that I have now to continue to do what it is I've been doing. But that's just not enough, man. It's just never going to be enough anymore, I don't think. Never going to be enough anymore. So that's where I'm at with it, man. I don't want to cope with my head. I don't want to create even more layers to this cocoon. I don't think it's safe in here. I don't think there's a future in here, even if they don't rip it away from me. If anything, I just need to be able to settle into the new world of getting help and getting consistent therapy sessions going in real life. Being out of this house again. Maybe learning how to drive again, so to speak. Not that you ever forget, but you know what I'm saying. Getting back out there, feeling confident again. Taking walks again. That type of thing, man, because I'm so far away from that type of social stuff. It's just not healthy for me to jump back out there. It ain't. Even if I have to, literally have to. So I have to trust the Lord to make a way, or give me the strength to just not let this be the case and let me jump back into the whirlwind and work if I have to. You know? Solution-based, not necessarily deterred or defeatist base would be the way my mom used to put it. So, yeah, man, I'm not defeated. I got prayer. I got praise. And I've been using it, and it's been giving me a whole lot of faith. And things were really, really anxious this morning, and I talked to you about it. I'm probably never going to listen to that therapy session again. But even then, I think I said some things that I think I probably should listen to. But I ain't listening to it tonight because I need some sleep. I'm getting up at 6:30. And, yeah, God's going to be with me, man. This is a stressful thing. I'm not going to hold you. It's not fun, but I think the acceptance phase is strong, and also the hopeful phase is in place. I got a card to play, and I'm going to play it, but also ask the Lord help me get my mind right, so that what coerced me into this space and the excuse that gave me this doesn't go by the wayside. I made sacrifices to be coddled in that space of mental health. It cost me a lot, money and more. So now it's my time to take all that back, and that's really what it is. I'm taking all that back by getting some help and defeating it if possible. If not, then managing it better. And that's a win in and of itself. I don't want medication. Probably going to reject anything like that they give me. Don't want it. Don't think it's necessary. I just got to sort through things, talk through things. Unless there's something truly wrong with the brain, and they can tell me something entirely different. But it is what it is. I'm of sound mind and body, and I'm going to be walking into that courtroom tomorrow with my chin high, as the Lord has instructed me to. Every time I pray, there's always some type of energy that's telling me to keep my chin up for some reason. I don't even know what the significance of that is, but it's been coming to me for the last couple months. Also, some words that were put into my heart as I was praying on my knees a couple days ago. Really redundant words, but they held a certain sense of meaning to me. I'll share them with you. Nothing spectacular, just I am a child of God. I will believe in the Lord my God. And why is those words meaningful to me? Because it reminds me of the fact that I'm favored in God's eyes, that I'm a child of His. And you know what fathers do for their sons and their kids? They favor them. They give them what they need. They teach them good lessons, but don't let them fall too far. They want to be good examples for them. They want to help them reach their goals. So it's like, if I'm a child of God, maybe He can help me get out of this situation, even though I've made some mistakes. And I will believe in the Lord my God. See, the key is, do I believe in God? Yes. But the declaration in that prayer is I will believe, meaning when it matters most, or when it feels as if I will least believe, I will. I declare that when my faith is tested the most, I will believe in the Lord my God. Because I was thinking, and I'm like, as those words came to me, it's like, God, I will believe in you. It's like, I believe in you now. Like, of course I'm going to believe in you later. Like, it's not like my favor is going to waver, but essentially, or my faith is going to waver. But essentially, the prayer was telling me that it will not. It will be tested. But when you get tested, you will believe in me. And you will know that I see you as my son, as you believe in me. Until that time, just know that through this prayer, we're preparing you for that moment. And so it's like, whoa. So as I absorb all of that, it's like, all right, it's not just some redundancy that's coming to me to have me saying stuff that's obvious. This is something that declares a very specific thing and provides a very specific comfort that's supposed to inspire a specific energy. And so it's like, that was all before I knew what was coming. And so now it's like, all right, now that's what I say tomorrow as I'm walking into that situation. It's like, I am a child of God, and I will believe in the Lord my God as whatever news is handed to me about whatever my fate will be in this household. You know what I mean? Like, I will believe. I will believe. I believe now, but when it matters most, I'm definitely going to believe. You know what I mean? So that's how I got to approach these things, and I hope that if you're a child of God, you understand that came from a direct meditative space I was in, man. Direct. And stuff that stuff popped in my head when I was not thinking about anything. I was just praying. And so those are things I hope that hold some spiritual energy for those who will receive it. That's what I said, man. It gave me a little strength, and hopefully it'll give me that strength as I go forward in the rest of my life, man. Thinking about my cousin who passed away right now. I'm just thinking about Latasha. So many different prayers prayed in her name. Not in her name, Jesus' name, of course, but, with her attached to it. But, like, it's just like, she passed, and it's still still fresh. So you just wonder what the Lord has in store for the people that you pray for, and what is the answer. Like, literally, that's it. There's nothing else to even add to that statement. That what is just, it's open-ended, because you have no idea what comes after this. If not for her, for everybody, for yourself. If there's a something. Whatever God wants, I think that's what it comes down to. I believe there's a God, so if he wants there to be a something, I guess there is. But I think the something is more about what we do while we're here, man. I think the something that he's looking for us to react to is what we can do something about, which is life. And so I try to do my best with this voice, and I may have made some bad choices, but I don't regret the voice that came from those choices. I don't. And that's ultimately what I have to keep telling myself when going through what I'm going through. It's like, this is what the Lord intended for me to be able to accomplish. It's this channel, all these different entries that would have never been there unless I did it exactly this way. So that is what I'm gonna leave you guys with. I'm going to sleep, man. I got a nice long day ahead for tomorrow, but I think the Lord is telling me that whatever the path I'm going to be on is going to be set with a lot of different things that he can't wait to show me, man. I just got a feeling that, don't want to jinx myself, but I got a feeling that I'm going to be on a path that's going to have good things attached to it from here on out. For a while, for a time, whatever the Lord wants to do. But I just feel like a tide has turned on my spiritual energy today, even though it's a lot of stuff that's been coming. It feels like some of them spiritual attacks that I was having 2 and 3 weeks ago, I have a full understanding of how they came to me. And I know that's like a whole nother conversation I could get into, but I just see why God was trying to coerce me away from certain inner feelings I was having, why he was letting certain things happen, the difference between what I thought was going on versus what was really going on to what was about to be going on, and how what God was initially wanting me to be like and feel like was best for ultimately what was about to happen, rather than the energy that I was engaging in when I was battling with whether or not I wanted to feel a certain way. It was whatever God was talking about that now I see today, with all the different things that have transpired, that was the energy I most welcome now for myself back then. I'm so thankful. And this is the second time that's happened. The second time, that's why I'm like, I know the Lord is working a certain way here. It's like it's always some type of attack. It's always some type of inner this, misunderstanding that, not really that. And then God helps me understand if with the fullness of something that's beyond what both parties would be able to see. And it's always comes back to just knowing that it was his initial energy that he told me it was going to be. It was what it ultimately was. Even though there was no sign of that or different things that pointed in different directions, whatever, he knew the future. And he whispered in my heart what would be best for that future. And if I trusted him enough in that moment, I'd be happy. And I'm happy because I did in that particular time. So that's just what I wanted to tell you guys without getting into too much detail, because I ain't got the time. But that's the lesson, man. It's not the first time, too. We've heard that lesson before on this channel. So let's listen to that inner voice telling you to keep good energy, man, because it can tell the future. It's essentially what I'm telling you. What in a funny way. But trust your instincts. Trust them. They will lead the way. So that's what I got to say. Drink some water. I had a good day, man, and a lot of it had to do with you guys. I kid you not. Even though you're not defined yet, the notion that I can talk to somebody else got me through a lot of this. Not only today, but over the last 3 years. So thanks for all that y'all done for BDF 44. and I'm out.